All right, so we're back with Money Love. Now, remember, Money Love is our little concept where we want to help in managing money better. If you manage your money better, you will be able to basically do more with it. So, we talked about how to save more, how to get more juice out of your income so that you can start investing. Today, we're going to talk about how to manage loans better. So that they don't sort of get away from you, right? So the problem with loans is that if credit card bills are not paid on time, or if you have too many credit cards running at the same time, or if you have too many personal loans, it can turn into a massive, big ballooning problem. It's important also to keep that under control. Now, a couple of things before we start talking about loans. First of all, remember Money Love is in partnership with Frio. Frio is a brand new online banking experience. You can take a look at it. There are partners on the show. You also have Frio Save. Frio Save is India's first savings account that gives you 7% interest and builds your credit profile as well. Now, before we go further to start talking about loans, let me try and tackle some of the questions that came in during the week for our mutual fund episode. First, and thank you so much for all the love you showed us on that mutual fund episode. I'm glad you enjoyed this 17-minute episode. It gives me some confidence that we can maybe spend more time actually breaking things down a little further. So if you can handle 17 minutes on mutual funds, then maybe we can handle some time on credit and loans as well. So our first question came in saying, is it safe to invest in mutual funds from apps like PhonePe and Grow? Now, these are actually just routes, right? So they're effectively working like agents by bringing you a route in which you can invest in the fund. But the thing that you have to focus on is what fund you are actually investing in. That's the real and the important decision. So what fund are you investing in? A couple of things I'd like you to check, right? So first of all, what funds are you investing in? Why are you choosing those funds and how are you choosing those funds? And you can refer to our previous episode on how to choose a fund. Secondly, whichever route of investment you're using, whether it's an app or a website or you're actually using an agent, it's important to make sure that this route is giving you options, all of the options on the table. So there are some apps that only give you access to for example, tax saving funds and not the rest of them. That's actually not a good route, because then you're only getting like these many options instead of being able to have access to the whole universe of funds that are available to you. So make sure that you have access to all the funds that are available in the market. And finally, a lot of these do-it-yourself sort of routes will not give you adequate advice and information. So make sure that you're getting good advice and good information when you're making investments. The other thing I personally like is when I make investments into mutual funds, I like to get regular updates on email saying that this is the value of your fund right now. You could choose to get that maybe once a month or once a quarter, but I like to be able to see that on a regular basis. So make sure that you have, sort of a one-touch view on where your funds are and how they're doing, that you have access to the entire universe of options through the route that you're taking, and you're getting good advice and good access to information. There's another question from Akriti Shah. She says, how does one choose a mutual fund to invest in? We dealt a little bit of this in the previous episode, but I'll go through it one more time. You have to first decide what your goal is and what you're doing with the money and what you're using the money for, right? So once you've decided that, okay, I'm going to put this money away for the next, say, 10 years or 15 years, I'm going to use it for when I buy a new house, or I'm going to use it for whatever it is you decide is going to happen in the next 10 or 15 years. So you've got that idea, you've got your risk profile of how much risk you want to take with that money. Then you can choose between equity, debt, or a mix of the two, depending on how aggressive you want to be. So if you want to be really aggressive and you have a lot of time on your hands, go with equity. If, as your risk comes down, you can do a mix. And if you're very low risk, you can go with debt, but really debt should be only 3 years, not more than that, right? So once you do that, now you know what category of fund you want to invest in. The next thing to do is to use the help of some of the websites that are available in the market and figure out who the top performers of that category are, and top performers over a long period of time. So what I like to do is, if I'm going to invest for the next 10 years, I look at a performance over 10 years and see how this fund is doing over 10 years and compare it to the rest of its peers. So compare that one fund, and you will be able to see it on these websites. They'll give you all of this information. So compare it to other funds and see how it's doing. And if it's done well over the long term, then of course you can go ahead. Now remember also to track your funds regularly. keep going back, like I said, keep going back and checking how they're doing. Reena Datta says, how do you read a mutual fund statement? Boom, that's a great question. So when you look at your mutual fund statement, the easiest thing to look at, what I look at first, is how much money did I put in and what is its value right now. It's always nice to see if it's grown, right? And if you've invested for the long term, for more than a year, it's been in for a couple of years, then you need to look at something called the CAGR, okay? It's not as complicated as it sounds. It's the compounded annual growth rate. Remember, we talked about compounding. So it's how much it's grown per year. And if you have like a good growth rate on a mutual fund that you've invested for the long term, would be at least 12%. That should make you happy. So I look at how much money I put in so far through my SIP, or and what that value is right now. It'll give you that in your mutual fund statement. And then look for the CAGR, which is the compounded annual growth rate. And you want it to be at least 12% if you have invested for the long term. There's another one from Nisa. It says, what website can we refer to if we want to identify, build our portfolio for mutual funds and stocks to invest in? All right, so this is my preference of a website. I want to put a couple of disclaimers here. I haven't gone through all the websites in the market. I'm not saying that this is the best one or this is the one you should use. This is the one that I've been using for a while. I look at valueresearchonline.com. I worked with the team there when I was a business journalist. They do good work. They put out reviews that are really solid. So I've been using Value Research Online now for 15 years, I think. It's always worked out for me. So that's the website that I use, but there are other options in the market as well. And you can take a look at what suits you. All right, so let's now talk about credit and how to manage your loans, because when you're talking about money, there are a couple of things to look at. So your investments, your savings, and your loans. And the way our finances are designed, they will be loans, right? Everybody has loans. So on normal circumstances, an average person would have a personal loan, an education loan, you would have a credit card, maybe more than one, you'd have your car loan and your home loan, your auto loan, which could be car or two-wheeler, and your home loan. These are the various kinds of loans available in the market. This is normally what an average person would have as loans, and a combination of these through your life cycle, right? The thing that I want to talk to you about today is your credit history or your credit profile, and how that affects, and why you should, even as very young people, why you should keep an eye on your credit profile. There's a dog taking a nap. Why you should keep an eye on your credit profile. So the thing about the credit profile is, if it's good, you'll actually get approved for loans faster. You may also perhaps get a preferential rate. If you're taking a large home loan, you'll be able to perhaps negotiate a better home loan rate as well. But the bummer about it is, if your credit history tends to be bad, then you get rejected on loans. So normally banks that offer you low interest rates will actually reject you, and you'll have to go then to people who will charge you a higher interest rate, and that obviously is expensive, and we want to avoid that. So we're going to talk about what this credit profile / credit history / credit score is, how to maintain it better, and how to improve it if you have a slightly bad score already. Okay, so your credit score is a 3-digit score. Now, there are a couple of organizations in the market that have been approved by the RBI to actually compute the credit scores of Indian borrowers. The most popular among them is CIBIL, CIBIL. Now, they've been around for the longest, and they put out a score that is between 300 and 900. The closer you are to 900, the better it is. If you're 750 and above, that's a really good score. If you're 750 and below, you've got a bad score, and the closer you get to 300, you get into trouble, right? So let me tell you how this works. If you, for example, go ahead and apply to a bank for a loan, so you want to borrow, say, to buy a car, you're taking an auto loan, you will fill in the forms and you will sign everything and you will give it to the bank. The bank will say, okay, it seems like you can take this loan because you have the income and whatever, but we want to see if you're the kind of person who pays your loan on time. So what they do is then they put in a request to organizations like CIBIL and the four others that are operating in our market, and they ask for your credit history, which they're allowed to do if they are a member of this organization. So they share all the data they have of all their borrowers, and in return they have access to data of the borrower. And so they'll ask for your credit report. and they pay a fee for it. The credit report comes to them and they get to see how you have paid your loans through your entire financial adult life. So you could have borrowed something 10 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, and not paid on time, and it will show up on that report. Based on that report and based on the score that you get in that report, the bank will decide whether or not to give you the loan and whether or not you are a reliable borrower who deserves a low interest rate. So there are a couple of things to to keep in mind here. One is your recent history is more important. So how you've been behaving recently has a higher bearing on your final score than maybe a delinquency or a payment that you missed, say, 10 years ago. If you're better behaved closer to the date, it actually weighs better. It also helps to have a healthy mix of loans. So someone who has like 6 credit cards is a bad idea and it will show badly. But if you have one auto loan, one credit card, one home loan, and you're paying everything on time, that actually looks really good on your credit history. It's also good to show that you have borrowed within a certain limit. The other thing that is more important is, and this is really interesting, you may be late on paying your credit card bills by, say, a week or 2 weeks. So maybe you're just lazy and you never get on top of it. It will impact your credit history. But if you delay more than a month, it pops up higher. But anything more than 3 months is a delinquency, and that really weighs heavily. So what you need to do is to make sure that you pay all of your EMIs on time, that if you happen to miss an EMI for whatever reason, that you make that payment within a week of the due date so it doesn't hit your credit history too much. So the factors that affect your credit score are your repayment history, which is all of the loans that you have right now. So whether that's your credit card, your auto, your home loan, how well you are paying it on time, the type of loans you've taken. So a nice healthy mix of loans as opposed to too many of one thing. So if you have too many personal loans, too many credit card loans, credit cards running actively, then that shows, like I said, as a bad thing. And of course, your recent behavior, so your recent credit history has more of an impact. The other thing that I must point out is that if you stand guarantor for somebody else's loan and that person defaults and doesn't pay their loan, it affects your credit history. So that's something to keep in mind when you decide, to stand guarantor for someone. It's just an important thing. So what do you do? How do you find out what your credit score is? So you can go to any of these organizations, like you can go to CIBIL, you can go to any of the other organizations, and they allow you to buy a copy of your credit score. Now they actually do subscriptions where you pay a certain amount of money for the whole year and you can check regularly whenever you want to, or you can just buy one copy. So you make an online payment, you answer a couple of questions. So basically PAN card, which is your identification when it comes to banking, and they will email a copy of the report to you and you can take a look at it. So if it happens to be, like I said, 750 or more, you're in a good position and you'll get whatever loans you apply for. You maybe even be able to negotiate for a lower interest rate. If it's lower than 750, then you should be working at improving that because you're doing something wrong, and the report will actually show you where that mistake is. So is it in your credit card, or have you missed a couple of EMIs? What can you do? Is there something pending that maybe you missed? There's a credit card. Sometimes this happens, right? There's a credit card with like 5,000 rupees pending on it, and you've forgotten about it because you don't use that card anymore for whatever reason, and it's just been marking as a delinquency in your account. So you can take a look at it and you can fix that problem. Also, in many cases, people might see the history and say, hey, this is an issue. I don't have this card, or this is not my problem, or I paid this and it's still showing. Then you can actually get in touch with the credit organization and say that, listen, you've got it wrong, and they will rectify it for you, and they make it a point to do that because it's important that they pay attention to a complaint. It's part of their sort of deal of being able to function in the market with the RBI. So that's another thing that you can do as well. Take a look at your credit score and see if there are any mistakes in the credit score that need to be rectified. Now, if you happen to actually have some delinquencies, all hope is not lost. We can still fix it, right? So let's talk about how to improve the credit history. If you have a bad score, 1, make sure you pay everything on time starting now, right? Take a look at everything. Put it on, an automatic debit, ECS, pay it off on the due date. Don't keep anything pending. A lot of times we say that, I'll pay it. I'll do a net banking transfer. You never get around to doing it, and then you go into like payments that get delayed. So ECS is a good way to do that. The other thing that you could do is reduce the number of loans. If you happen to have more than one credit card, or you happen to have a personal loan that's sort of lagging, see if you can take some of your savings and knock these things off, so that you bring down the number of EMIs that you're paying every month. So you bring down the possibility of defaulting or delayed payments or things like that. Especially if you have high interest rate loans. So credit cards are very high interest rate. Personal loans tend to be of higher interest rate. It's good to take some savings and knock those off, so that they're not constantly adding fines. And when they add fines, especially when your credit card becomes really expensive, so it makes more sense to knock those off. And when you do that, it becomes easier then to manage your credit history. It's important to keep a couple of loans that you keep paying off on time, so then that behavior will improve your credit history. And stop spending unnecessarily. If you do have a credit card, keep an eye on it. Make sure that you use it only in certain situations and you pay it off immediately, and you're not using it unnecessarily, so you're staying on top of that situation. If you're able to do this, your credit score will improve, and you'll be able to track it over a period of time, because remember, I told you how you can access that credit score. So quickly, in a nutshell, this is what we have to do. You have to have loans, because building a credit score is important as you move into more serious things. So if you're a young person who's like 20, 25 years old, you have to take at least one, either take a credit card and make the payments on time, so that you're building a credit history for when you want to do bigger, more serious things. When you want to take a big home loan, then this credit history will come in handy. So it's important to have some credit history and some behavior that is being tracked. But it is super important that you make sure that the behavior that is being tracked is good behavior, because it will reward you in the long term. If you have questions about your credit history, get in touch with us, and it will be my pleasure to answer all the questions you have on Money Love. I'm going to wrap it up here. I know it's a long show, but remember, you have the stamina from last week, so you can do this. Also to remind you, we've partnered with Frio to bring you Money Love. Frio is a digital banking experience that includes Frio Save, which is India's first 7% savings account that also builds your credit profile. Thank you so much for watching. Here's this thing. If you have actually reached the end of this video, leave me a green heart in the comment section, so that I know that you lasted till the end of it, and I can figure out how many of you have actually watched to the very end. Share it with anyone you feel might find this information useful. Thank you for watching.